Hello everybody and welcome to the second edition of the Philly Sports Network Eagles Film Room with myself, Liam Jenkins. Today we're breaking down why Carson Wentz was much better than you think against the Seattle Seahawks. Now his phenomenal plays like the one you're seeing at the moment of course spring to mind, but the game was overshadowed with overthrows, underthrows, inconsistencies and of course that goal line fumble. However, Wentz was much better than that timeout 1 year ago where the Seahawks secondary punished every single mistake he made. This is about the development of Carson Wentz and the quarterback we saw last week that was honestly underappreciated. So let's start it with the first play of the game. We can see a 9-man box here. The whole objective of this play early on is to get a wide man out for the first down. The Eagles do that very well, but of course the man behind that play is Carson Wentz, and there's a very strong reason why this was a completion. Before that very first snap, you can see Carson Wentz point out KJ Wright, number 50, and he knows that Wright is staying over the middle. As soon as Wentz receives the ball with this intel that he's fed to his offensive lineman, they double team a man. He turns straight away to Torrey Smith, who becomes the primary read, knowing there's no one outside, and that's a first down. Next play highlights exactly why Carson Wentz struggled. If we look at this freeze frame, Halapoulivaati Vaitai is already losing his block and Wentz is forced to throw under duress. But unlike last year, this ball isn't underthrown. It's thrown behind the cornerback and it gives his receiver a chance to make a play on the ball. Now ultimately he didn't, and this was just deemed as a bad throw by Wentz, but it could have been a lot worse. Wentz made the most of a bad situation. Now this video is doing anything but call Carson Wentz perfect. He did struggle against Seattle and his footwork was a clear sign of that. We take a look at this here. This is the pass that most people remember. It's a must complete touchdown pass to Nelson Agholor. There's all the room in the world, but it wasn't. It was a completion, but it wasn't the touchdown. Why wasn't it? Let's take a look at the footwork. Wentz fakes a handoff and goes to his regular 4-step drop, but as that hitch begins, look how wide his stance is now, perpendicular to his shoulders. It's not a good base. The throwing motion is shortened due to pressure, and the ball sailed on him. It's that simple. It's a rookie mistake that's going to be ironed out over time, but it wasn't the only time it happened. If we take a look at this route here, designed to break up the zone coverage, Wentz again was throwing off a very awkward stance. He completed this to Zach Ertz. It was a great pass, but it dived down towards the end. It's almost nose-diving the pass, and if we see why from this great view showing behind the quarterback, watch Carson Wentz's legs here. Again, he's going to fake the handoff to LeGarrette Blount, and as he pulls that ball back to his chest, gets a hitch, slips a little bit, the pressure around the outside. Look at the stance, at how he ends that throw. He has to almost wobble back to his side, and the ball's been just thrown downwards at the floor as opposed to upwards into the chest of his receiver. Alright, so his footwork wasn't exactly like Russell Wilson, but it doesn't mean there wasn't a strong point. Take a look at this pass here to Alshon Jeffrey, but more importantly, how it happens. So Wentz takes possession of the ball, again fakes the handoff, but look at that foot, resets his feet 3 times inside the pocket to move out of pressure and still find Alshon. Now I couldn't talk about Carson Wentz's footwork without bringing up this beautiful touchdown pass to Nelson Agholor. Keep an eye on Shelton Gibson standing next to Agholor, gives a beautiful little rub there to Byron Maxwell, who's smothering Agholor, and that just breathes some life into the route and gives Agholor a chance in the end zone. It's signed, sealed, delivered from then on out. For Wentz inside the pocket, that's a very different issue. Lane Johnson is having to match up against Sheldon Richardson, which is by no means an easy matchup, as the former Jets defensive lineman storms into the backfield. Watch how Wentz gets out of trouble again with that footwork. That's the angle he makes a throw from. One more for good measure. Carson Wentz with a cheeky little tip here to Corey Clement as pressure comes in once again. Strides his way through the pocket. How many quarterbacks make that play? One of the biggest criticisms faced by Carson Wentz last year was his tendency to stare down receivers, not so much on his return to Seattle. No Dorial Green-Beckham interceptions here. Keep an eye on Bobby Wagner, number 54, his 4th consecutive season of 100 tackles or more for the Seattle Seahawks. He's going to stare down Carson Wentz as soon as he gets this ball right here. So number 54, Bobby Wagner, that's who you want to keep an eye. As Wentz moves to his right hand side to look at one receiver, Wagner goes with him. He stays on Carson Wentz. The moment he moves, Ertz is wide open. The gates have burst through, and that's a completion every day of the week. Of course, we're going to end this analysis with just one final play. the one that everybody's talking about, the one where only 2 other quarterbacks can make. It's Carson Wentz, it's Russell Wilson, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's magic. Look at the way Carson Wentz moves out of the pocket here, but it looks impressive on TV. How about the coach's view? Watch how Wentz moves to the sideline. That's impressive enough, but the angle he makes his throw, how do you make that? He almost falls over. It's on like 1 foot and still makes the pass to Nelson Aguilar with 40 yards to spare. Absolutely ridiculous. And if that does not scream franchise quarterback, if that does not scream the future, I don't know what will. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Eagles Film Room, guys. It is a pleasure bringing these videos to you, and I hope you're enjoying them. If you do like it, please give us a like, hit the subscribe button. We want to bring as much of these out as possible, and of course follow me on Twitter as well, at LiamJenkins21.